let me get that up here and make sure that's all going to work. And sometimes it takes just a minute to get that screen sharing going. And hopefully that brings it up. And I've just been having a great time with technical difficulties today. So we'll see if that works. So just first a little bit about Dan River Basin Association. We are a nonprofit organization, and our mission is preserving and promoting the natural and cultural resources of Dan River Basin. And we do that, Dan River Basin, we do that through education, recreation, and stewardship. So education is huge for us. We especially love to work with kids, but we do a lot of programs where we teach kids about the environment and adults about the environment. We do a lot of recreation. That's a big thing for us. We have first Saturday outings, and that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today, about getting outdoors. So one of the big things we know that is if we get people out there on the trails or on the rivers and they see what we have available, they're going to love it, and they're going to want to protect it. And that brings us to stewardship. So if you love this stuff, if you love the rivers and you love the trails and you love the water quality, you're going to want to protect it. And you become good stewards of the environment. That's what we're all about at Dan River Basin Association. And we have a lot of threats to the basin, from, clear cutting, bad riparian areas, to coal ash spill, to litter. Regardless of what it is, we try to work on problems or solutions that solve those problems, whether it's planting trees or doing education with the kids to teach them about water quality, doing litter cleanups. We're out there, and we want you to join us too. So everybody's feeling cooped up, I'm sure, from this wonderful COVID-19 and wanting to get out there. We are kind of entering that period, as you know, where some states are removing restrictions, some states not so much. But the main issue is you want to get out. You get cabin fever. We all get cabin fever. We know that. This self-isolation, the quarantine, whatever it is, we're losing the social interaction, shaking hands, hugging, my favorite thing. We're losing all of that. So how do you, what's the prescription? I mean, even for someone like me that loves the outdoors and doesn't mind being alone, the isolation can still be painful. Well, everybody knows that the outdoors is one of the best cures that you can have. It's one of the best things that you can do. I mean, we know vitamin D helps with your immune system anyway, and just getting out there and being active is proven over and over again to, sorry, had a little interruption there, to increase the immune system and increase your health and well-being. So what's the prescription? Well, my prescription is get out and hug a tree. Hug a tree, hug a flower, hug a trail, whatever it is. I need to be outside. I need to be fishing. I need to be on the river. I need to be somewhere outside. And I know a lot of you guys feel that same way as I do. I need that outdoor connection. And, you can't just sit in your house all day long. You can't just sit in your house and watch YouTube videos or anything like that. You've got to get out there. So whether you like a paved trail or an urban trail, path through the woods, blaze your own path through the woods, get on the river. We have plenty to offer in the Dan River Basin. From Virginia, we're a border organization. We cover Virginia and North Carolina, 16 counties, 3,300 square miles from the mountains all the way over to Lake Carr in the east. So there's a lot of variety of outdoor opportunities there. We're very fortunate in this area to be able to still get out and do these things. Many of our trails and river accesses and lakes are still open. We do have some closures, but for the most part, everything's open. And as long as you get out there safely and practice the social distancing, there's nothing wrong with being out there. And it's definitely something you want to do, is get out there. We all do. Right now, what we're seeing is resurgence in the need to get outside. Of course, it is springtime and summer, and we always see an increase in traffic, but our river accesses and our trails are seeing a lot of use that they don't normally see this time of year. And going into the summer, I think we're going to see that as well. So when you do get out there, just be mindful of other people and the trash and the litter. I've been picking up a lot of litter lately with tongs, not with my hands, but there's a lot that's going on that we really all need to pitch in and help take care of these fantastic assets that we have. We're so lucky to have the trails and the river accesses that we do here. We're very fortunate. I can't imagine being someplace cooped up where I can't even get to a park. And many parks that have playgrounds and things like that are closed. So rivers and trails are the places to be during this pandemic anyway. So how do we build these things? How do we get there? And what do we have to offer? Well, at Dan River Basin Association, we do a lot of master planning for rivers and trails. We do this for counties and municipalities across the basin. And that's kind of where it all starts. A lot of times people ask me, you know, they say, oh man, I didn't know we had these trails. I didn't know we had these river accesses. And they don't really realize how we get there. Well, this is the first step in it, is to plan ahead. And we've been doing this for a long time. We made our first master plan in 2008. And we just updated the one for Henry County in 2019. We've got them for Caswell County, Rockingham County, Patrick County. We've got them all across the basin. And what we try to do is work with municipalities and governments to teach people, you know, look at things that we can do for outdoor infrastructure. And master planning is the first step. Right now, currently underway, we're working on a master plan to connect North Carolina and Virginia with the beaches to the bluegrass and the mountains to the sea. Those are two trail systems. The beaches to the bluegrass is in Virginia, the mountains to the sea is in North Carolina. So we're working on some corridor routes where we can make those possible connections. Now these, the beaches to the bluegrass and the mountains to the sea encompass rural trails, roadways, trails that are already on the ground. So that's the kind of things we're already looking at. We're trying to connect those two together. We've developed a master plan of these corridors, and hopefully we're going to see some of this on the ground in the future. A lot of this is already on the ground, both of these trails. There's a lot of trail already out there. So we've got a few projects coming up. It's pretty neat. Some that are completed, some that are not quite completed, some that are in the beginning stages. So we're going to talk about a few of them. This is a fun one right here, the Natural Dog Park Playground. This is at the Smith River Sports Complex in Henry County. What we've done down there is put an area that is going to be fenced in. It's got about 1,700 feet of trails in it. And instead of making just a dog park, we decided to make something that dogs could be off the leash and run around on trails, and humans could enjoy too inside a fenced in area. People are already using it like crazy. It's down here. You can see it down here, the Paul Path Playground. The river access is down here. If you go to the Smith River Sports Complex right off of the Highway 58, it's easy to find down there. Hopefully that'll be opening up before the end of the summer. That's what it's going to look like. Some open play areas and some natural service paths in there. And there's already the Paul Path along the river, which is a beautiful path to walk, and it connects up to the Dick and Willie Trail. So there's a lot of opportunities right there at the sports complex. Another project that we are working on is called the Spencer Penn Botanical and Meditation Path. I don't think we've quite nailed down the name for it yet, but this is up at the Spencer Penn Community Center in Henry County, right on the edge before you go into Patrick County. And there currently is a small trail there, and what we're doing is enhancing that trail, and we're also adding a butterfly boardwalk, which goes from the trail and sticks out on the edge of a power line, which is just a fantastic place for butterflies in the summer. And the boardwalk is complete already, so you can go out there and walk the trail right now, walk right out on the deck and see what we're talking about. And as this new growth comes in, you're going to see a lot more of it, a lot more butterflies. It's a neat little place to walk. It's not a strenuous hike at all. It's a very short hike. It's just a little loop, but you can spend some time in there. We're going to add some other informational signs to it, some more benches and educational areas to this in the future. So hopefully we'll be done with that in the summertime too. It is a beautiful little site. As I said, we'd like to add some more botanicals in there as well. So go out to Spencer Penn and enjoy that. Dropping down into North Carolina and Rockingham County, we are working with the city of Reidsville on the Lake Reidsville Trail Project. This was started several years ago, and through a variety of resources, we are trying to expand on the trails that they already had there. And we've got like a 2.5 mile trail project underway right now. And if you go down to Lake Reidsville Park, and you'll see signs that point you to the trail, the existing trail. Now, what we're doing is we're starting in the back. Lake Reidsville Park is right here, if you can see my cursor, and then we're starting back here and then connecting to this trail. So that is currently in progress right now. And it's a beautiful place, a beautiful lake, beautiful trail. And we're trying to get all the way around. I mean, the city of Reidsville would love to get all the way around the lake right now, but you can currently go out and walk on the existing trail. And one of the new phases is already connected to that trail. Now our trail contractor, Tony, is still down there working and will be for probably through the summer. We're going to try to have that additional 2.5 miles open up by the end of the summer. So I wanted to give you guys a little idea of how this works. A lot of people don't really understand trail building, and they go out there and they enjoy a trail and they don't exactly figure out what's going on. So this is just an example using the Lake Reidsville project. One of the first things that is done is, and this project was worked on by another staff member before I took it over, in conjunction with the city of Reidsville. And basically we take a map, we take a satellite map, and we go, hey, this is somebody wants a trail here, or this is a good place for a trail. And then we go out there and ground truth it. We put boots on the ground, we look at it, we talk to landowners. This particular land is owned by the city of Reidsville, so that's fantastic. They didn't have any problem with building a trail on it, just had to find the money to do it. So you lay these trails out, you go out there and flag them out, decide where they need to be. This is our trail contractor and myself walking around out there, walking through the woods, deciding where bridges need to be. And then you bring the equipment out there, and then you start working on building the trails. And this is a section of that new trail right after Tony has finished and smoothed it up. So pretty neat process to building these trails. A lot of times we have volunteers out there doing it as well. But that's the basic process of how this works. And hopefully we'll have a grand opening on this Lake Reidsville trail when things calm down. So if we jump back up to Henry County here, we're looking at the Dick and Willie Passage. It's been around for a long time. We started this back in 2009. I think we had a grand opening for the first section late 2009. We are on, just finished up phase 6B. And that runs from Spruce Street down to the sports complex. And we're working on 6A now as well to connect the original Dick and Willie Passage with this section. This section has become the new favorite. It's about 2.5 miles long. You can start at the sports complex, or you can start at the Spruce Street trailhead. It does encompass about 3/4 of a mile worth of roadway through a subdivision. It's beautiful trail, and it comes along the Smith River there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. This has been getting a lot of use lately. And you've got views like this when you get down to the Smith River. It's just incredible. Encourage you guys to get out there and look at that one. Another new project we've got is the Eastman. I'm checking my phone here. I don't want to run over too long here. We've got the Eastman Educational Boardwalk. This is in Henry County. This is at the Great Road access. It's on the Smith River. Eastman is the corporation that gave us some grant funding. We want to build an outdoor classroom there, and the first phase of this outdoor classroom was this educational boardwalk. And we've got these signs. The boardwalk has been completed. We haven't put the signs up yet, but we'll have these 2 signs about the river ecosystem and protecting our waterways. The boardwalks are fun. People love to walk on boardwalks. So I enjoyed getting this project done because it's already getting a lot of heavy use. It runs from the parking lot right down to the river. We've already got people, standing there fishing off of it all the time. And this is kind of a wet area when it rains or when the river gets up. And we've already had this flooded over the top of this boardwalk. And our contractor, John Edwards, did a fantastic job. The boardwalk hasn't moved, hasn't had any damage. It's really a great addition to our river access there. So I encourage you guys to go down there and take a look at it. You can see where the wet area is here, and you can go right over that, still walk right down the river. We anticipate using this a lot with the school kids. We do a lot of trout in the classroom releases there. So we're looking forward to using this more when we can get back to, well, I don't know what the new normal is. We may all be out there with masks and hand sanitizers releasing trout, but we're going to be out there someday, somehow. This is also a fantastic river access. It's one of our favorites. You can put in here and go down to Fielddale. You can go down to Doe Run. You can put in up at Bassett and get out here. Beautiful section of the Smith River. It gets a lot of heavy use. So I encourage you guys to get out there and look at it. I'm going to show you some resources about where you can find all these projects and everything out there, interactive maps and just resources as you can find it. This is another project we've got going down in Madison, North Carolina, the Lindsey Bridge project. This is, we're a part of this project. There's some big partners in this project, including Fish and Wildlife Service and Town of Madison, State of North Carolina, and federal and state grants are involved in this. And this is a really neat project that there's already a river access there. There's no trail right there, but what's going to happen is what we're trying to do is what really got this project started was the Roanoke log perch. We want to, if you can see this dam here is at Pine Hall. The Roanoke log perch is found in the Dan River right there, but it can't get past this dam. So one of the ideas was to repatriate this federally endangered species. So we talked to T.R. Russ with Fish and Game, and we kind of had been bouncing this idea around for a couple of years, and it finally came up that, hey, there is actually some funding to do this through Fish and Wildlife and some other resources. So the idea is to not completely take this dam down, but we do want to repatriate this log perch, and at the same time, we're going to work on creating a mini whitewater park there. And the plans are, you can see the area right here on the Mayo River and the larger map, Hanging Rocks over here. So it's in a really key area for a lot of heavy use there in Rockingham County. That's a beautiful site too. And so the plans are to put these weirs in the river, and it'll raise the river level up. So incrementally down, this is the bridge here, the Lindsey River, the Lindsey Bridge. And you can see if you put these fish weirs, these rock weirs in the river channel, it's going to raise the channel up to get it up over this, just enough to get it over that dam that will hopefully repatriate the log perch there. We've actually seen log perch down here next to the bridge. So it's a good sign. We can get the endangered fish back upstream to repatriate that section of river and create a really neat little playboat area and it's not going to be complicated like a real whitewater park or anything like that. It's just going to make some really neat channels through there where you can boat down through there. There's already a river access down there. Then you can go downstream and get out the next river access. Very popular place. The Matrimony Creek Trail Project, this was the Duke Water Resource Fund partnership with the city of Eden. And they did a beautiful job on the trail down there. This is about I think it's about a 1.2 mile trail that goes from the beginning close to the Dan River and then runs up to an old mill site. And we've worked with the city of Eden on developing some signage for this site. That's the trailhead there. Beautiful restrooms, beautiful trail. It runs along Matrimony Creek. Unfortunately, we had some flood damage during all this last flooding, and they're working on repairing that now. Now the first 3,000 feet, I think, is open. They've opened back up. It's just the last little section up by the mill is closed because of some washout, but they're really doing a good job of mitigating that and fixing it. The mill was a really neat part of history, and there'll be a sign up there, this particular sign on the history of the mill and a little bit about the area and the watershed there. It's a nice, flat, easy walking trail right there in Eden. It's getting a lot of heavy use right now. We've got a new river access down there right across from the entrance, pretty much across from the entrance to the Matrimony Creek Trail. And you see in this photograph, this is actually Matrimony Creek running into the Dan River. And this is the Klyce Street landing that City of Eden put in. It's down near their old waterworks plant there. And it is a long set of steps. That is a very dynamic part of the river. But we're happy to have a river access there. The next upstream access is Settles Bridge, about 8 miles upstream, and the next downstream is Leakesville Landing, which is only about 1.5 miles downstream. So you got a great choice of a long trip from Settles Bridge down to here. You can jump in here and get out at the Leakesville Landing, or you can go on down to the wildlife access or to Draper Landing. So it's a nice key piece in the Dan River Blueway there. That's just a picture of the landing from the river. We paddled it from Settles Bridge to the landing the other day, just checking to make sure the river was nice and clear. Beautiful place. Another new trail we have is the High Rock River Access and High Rock Ford Trail and River Access. This is in Gibsonville, North Carolina, just south of Reidsville. This is a fantastically neat place. I love this project. I love this place down here. We have a wonderful DRBA volunteer that lives right near this area and takes care of the place for us, and has helped us put in all the signs and the steps there for the river access. This is the farthest upstream river access on the Hall River. The Hall River actually has the Hall River Trail, which is really great. It goes through Alamance County and Guilford and on up into Rockingham County here. So we have the furthest upstream river access, and also a really neat trail there. There's a lot of history there, Revolutionary War site, the old mill. It's just fantastic. And of course, the namesake High Rock. You got to go see this trail. I mean, it's just, you know, I'm in Henry County. It's probably 40 minutes from me. So if you live in Eden or Reidsville or Halifax, you're a lot closer to get down to this trail. It's a neat piece of history. We've got some nice interpretive historical signs there. It runs along the Hall River. We've done some river runs from upstream at 150 and even further up on Business 29 to see if it's feasible to put some river accesses up in there, and we believe it is. So we hope in the future that we're going to be able to get some even further upstream river accesses. Go see this place. You won't regret it. It's a fascinating place. Beautiful, beautiful site. Old mill site. Of course, the namesake High Rock there. And this is what I was mentioning, the Hall River Trail. We're the upstream farthest one on the Hall River Trail. It's neat to be included that. We did another project. We did this one with the Patrick County. They had a project, the AIR project, and they got together and said, hey, what can we do to enhance our trails? And somebody came up with this statue of hands idea, which is really neat. And local artists painted or decorated 5 different hands, and they put them on 5 different locations. And then we helped by putting in the signs to tell you about the hands and where you can see them. There's a brochure. It's online. It's on Instagram. It's everywhere. They've done a great job with this, and people love these things. They're really fascinating pieces of artwork. They have local history in there. There's one made out of stained glass, you know, that's got stained glass on it, and there's tile on one and just some painted stuff. And then, of course, the one up in the meadows of Dan is holding a banjo up there, and a nod to the bluegrass of the area. They're at different trail locations, and it's online. It's easy to find. I'm going to show you some resources for that. This the Mayo River State Park at Anglin Mill. Now, the Mayo River State Park has been in progress for a long time, from the Virginia side to the North Carolina side. North Carolina has a much more established Mayo River State Park. There's a lot of places that you can get in there and hike down to neat places like the Shazo Mills Falls here. The Shazo, sorry, I'm tongue-tied. That's a beautiful hike, and I've done it a lot from coming up from Anglin Mill along the river is fantastic. You can also do it from the other side and walk down through the woods to get to it. All this stuff's online. Once again, I'm going to have links to resources in the comments. But the Anglin Mill site is off Anglin Mill Loop Road, and it's very easy to find, and it's always been a site where we've gone and paddled at a place called the Boiling Hole, which is right here, and you can just park your vehicle and throw your boat in and practice here. It's a neat place, and just upstream from this is the Virginia state line, which is really neat. There's a historic area called Bird's Ledge where the state line was surveyed there, and then you can hike right on up to this Fall Creek and the waterfall there at the Shazo Mill. It's a beautiful section of river. I absolutely love this. I've seen a lot of people on this trail lately. I've been out there several times myself. I like to fish in the river. I like to just walk up there and walk to that mill site. And if you just park in the parking lot right below Anglin Mill Bridge, and you can walk up on top of the bridge that crosses the river, you can see one of the best examples of a native fish weir right there in the river, and that's what we're looking at here. This V shape in the river is a native fish weir where the Indians would pile these rocks, and then they would run fish downstream, and they usually have like a fish basket here or spears or whatever they were doing to catch the fish. So they would chase the fish down here and funnel them down in a section of the river. So it's a really cool looking fish weir. I just love it. If you go there, definitely walk up on the bridge and look out over there, and you can get a really nice view of it. And then you can hike along the trail on river left over here, and you're looking at your right side. You walk up here, and then right up here in the corner, the trail peels off and runs up the Fall Creek to the Shazo Mill Falls. And that's the falls there. Beautiful little site. Get out there and enjoy that one in North Carolina, folks. And it's not that far from Virginia. It's right there on the line, too. Of course, we have a lot of blueways. That's something I think is just fantastic. You know, we've got a lot of trails, a lot of new projects and some new projects coming up, but we also have blueways out there. This one is the Philpott Lake Blueway Water Trail. We have 9 different access locations on there, and at each one of these, it has a sign like this that tells you where you are and where you can paddle. Now, unfortunately, right now, there's only 3 accesses that are open due to the pandemic. And they've got the other ones closed because they have playgrounds or bathrooms and things like that in it that they won't shut down. They're working on that. The Corps of Engineers is working with the state of Virginia to decide when they can open these other accesses up. We hope it's soon because it's seeing a lot of heavy traffic at these 3 locations where you can put in. So we want to get, hopefully we can get back to that because the lake has 250 miles of shoreline. It's a fantastic place to paddle. There's a lot of hiking trails up there at each one of these accesses as well. So great hiking up there. The Smith River Blueway that runs through Henry County from Philpott Dam and runs all the way down to the state line in Virginia. And the Smith actually runs into the Dan River, but the Blueway encompasses 13 different river accesses. We have a brochure, we have an online resource for it. Each river access has a sign, tells you where you are, where you can go, how far it is to the next access. Just one of those great resources that really helps you find out where you're going. We have the Sova Wild Virginia Blueway, which is over in Halifax and encompasses the Bannister River and the Stanton River. That's online. Great resource to find out where the accesses are, where you can paddle trips, different sections of river. All these places, all these blueways are critical for teaching or learning how to get on the river. I mean, you know, somebody like me, I'm going to find a bridge and I'm going to see if I can park on the side of the road and throw my boat in there and paddle upstream or downstream, whichever the case may be. But we really need these river accesses, and making these blueways ties all those river accesses in together and gives you a way to plan your trip. The Dan River State Crossings is a great website. This was a project that was used with some of the Duke Coal Ash Water Resources Fund money, and it's really neat. They right now during the pandemic crisis, they have some solo adventures that you can take, and you can scroll down and find all kinds of trip ideas. A lot of our information is on there as well, but all across the region. And the idea is Virginia and North Carolina, we're separated by a state boundary, but we're not separated by physical boundaries, and the river knows no boundaries. And we're hoping these trails can connect and connect these 2 states together too. So wherever you are in our region, this is a great resource to go to and find out different trip ideas and things you can do. We also have a lot of little urban trails around. We worked on this project with the Get Healthy and the Health and Wellness Coalition in Martinsville and Henry County. And we put these in Patrick, Henry, and Pennsylvania County. What we do is go out and, find a neat place to walk that didn't require building a trail. It encompasses sidewalks, the side of roads, safe places to walk. And then we've got these signs in different places. This is online as well, a resource, and you can find these, what we're calling urban loops, and online at different places. We've got another project. This is the at the Smith River Greenway in Eden. This is going to be what we call an Otter Holt project. Currently, the city of Eden, we're partnering with them to do this. Their mascot is the otter. They took the Smith River Greenway and added all these cool butterfly sculptures too. So you can go down there and you walk on the butterfly trail and find these things hanging up on the trees. It's really neat. And then right there at the Island Forward Landing, we have this beautiful bronze otter statue, and we have an interpretive sign there that talks about the otters on the Smith River. And we're going to build a Holt, which is a breeding facility for otters. Basically, it'll be a box in the ground with 2 tubes that run into the river with some cameras in it. We're going to try to hope to attract the otters there. There's already a lot of otter activity there. You see them on the river down there. You see the prints, you see their scat. There's a lot of activity already down there. So we're hoping to give them a good place that they can actually rear their pups. We've got another project coming up This one has not quite got it under construction yet, but it's it's going to be called the Jacobs Creek Bateau Landing. And this is on Planters Road in Rockingham County, North Carolina. This is, if you look at this picture up here, you'll see this is an old bateau landing back from the 1800s, where they used to take the big bateaus, which are the river boats, the wooden river boats that they used to haul cotton and pig iron and tobacco up and down the rivers. It was the navigation system before we even had railroads and roads around here. But this landing is where they used to pull up to the bateaus and load them or take off the loads. And it was so well built with all these rocks that it's survived, all these years of flooding. And it's just a really neat sight to see. And this area still floods, but that bateau landing is still intact. So what we're going to try to do is we'll have a parking area there. We'll have a little trail to an overlook where you can sit on a deck and overlook the river. And then we'll have a trail going down and around to the bateau landing, where you can put your own boat in, and then you can paddle on down to Settles Bridge Road or wherever else you want to go. So just one more piece on the Dan River and another access that you'll be able to paddle on. Hopefully that's coming soon. So how do you find all this neat stuff? Well, there's a lot of resources out there, and this is one of my favorite apps. It's called All Trails. You can get it on the App Store. We actually did a project. We got some grant funding to add trails to this, to add our local trails to it. We added 20, I think we added 25. Seems like we added 40 total. I can't remember now exactly how many from the different counties that we did, but we tried to get as many as we could on there. And basically what we did, myself and Crystal, we went out and walked these trails. We used Map My Walk, and then we entered them into the All Trails. You can also use this app to just map it out. It's a GPS app, and then you can see it has all these really neat stuff. There's a Silver Bell Trail right here in Martinsville. It maps the trail out for you. It maps the elevation and the distance, and you can also comment on this. Rate it if you went out there. Did you like the trail? It's a really neat app. You should get it. It doesn't take up much room. Map My Walk is also a neat one. This is good for you exercise buffs. It gives you a lot of information on your, how far you went and elevation, just like the All Trails. We use this actually quite a bit when we're out looking at trails, just to see where they will go and get a rough idea. If you look up here in the right-hand corner, this is one I did on Lake Reidsville when I was looking to connect the existing trail, which connects down in here, to the trails that we're going to put down. So I was wandering all around with Map My Walk and just looking at different areas. And this track shows us that, okay, down here next to the lake, it was not feasible to put a trail because we got a wet marsh area there. So we came up here. So I can take this and take it back to my laptop or whatever and help to map these trails out. We have an interactive map that you need to see if you haven't been to the Dan River Basin website. It's fantastic. It has all these icons here. So it has river access trails, parks, cultural and historical, visitor center. And that's all these icons down here. Each one of those you can click off. So like I've got just trails clicked on here. So this shows you where the trail's in, and you can hit Control plus and zoom this map in. It'll tell you how to do that. You can zoom it in and find your area, whether you're in Eden or in Martinsville or South Boston or Danville. You can zoom this in and find out something that's close to you. You can add river accesses to it as well. You can add all the stuff to it if you want to. Zoom it in, see what's in your area, where you want to go. Now, not all our new projects are on there yet. It's one of those things that takes time to actually put these projects on there with a description and a photo and GPS and address. So we have to actually sit down and take time to do that. But if you click on each of these icons that are on there, a photo will come up, a description of the trail, and actually where the trail is. So you can type in the address and go there. It's a great thing to have with you, and just kind of use it to plan. It's a trip planner. Just see what's around your area. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of stuff around our area. You guys probably already know this. This is an overlook at Philpott Lake, just a beautiful view of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Currently, this view is one of the things that is closed on Philpott Lake. We hope to see that open up by June. We'll see what happens. But the point of this is our area, our region, the Dan River Basin, has so much to offer, from the water to the trees, the mountains, rivers and trails, the infrastructure that we've helped put in place to make this possible, get you out there. So that's what we want to do. We want to get you out there, stick your toes in the water, get out on a site, get your boat in the water, get out on a trail, whatever you need to do. And here's some of the resources you can do it. Now, once again, you don't have to copy all this down. We are recording this. You can go back and look at it on YouTube. In the comments section on YouTube, I'm going to have a link to all this. But you can see we have the Dan River Basin website here. It's fantastic. Rockingham County has a wonderful site. City of Eden has a wonderful site. There's the state crossings. Henry County Parks and Rec. All these sites, and there's more out there too. I just didn't put them all on here, but there's a lot more resources out there. And basically, you know, if Google's your friend, use it. It works. So what I'm going to do right now is see if there's any questions here. And what you're looking at actually is a aerial view of what we call Fisher Dam. It's down near off Marrowbone Creek near the Smith River. A lot of people like to call this Eggleston Falls, but it's actually Fisher Dam. One of those places that we don't have an official trail to yet. We certainly hope we can at one time. So if anybody has any questions or anything, please feel free to ask me. And if I need to back up to show you anything, I'll be glad to do that. We always have ideas, and we always welcome your ideas. You can get in touch with me through the DRBA website. My email is on there. It's just bwilliams@danriver.org. And we're always looking for user input. We have a lot of volunteers that go out there, and a lot of people, a lot of information is available. We can put you in touch with somebody that knows something about an area if we don't, or if you just got a suggestion, we're more than happy to, speak with you and take your suggestions. That's how we find out, how to do a master plan. So we've got a question now: which 3 lake accesses are open? Okay, ramp 1, which is the marina on Philpott. That is where the marina is. It gets really crowded right now. Run It Bag, which is on the far northwestern end of the lake, and I believe Ryan's Branch is also open. So you've got one that's way far out up there, Run It Bag, and then Ryan's Branch, which is off of Iron Bridge Road. It's not too far out. What's the name of that road? I can't remember, but it's on the Philpott website and the marina. I just talked to operations manager Chris the other day, and we're hoping to have. They're working, they're working under federal guidelines. They're a federal entity, so it depends on what the Corps of Engineers says, what they can do about starting to reopen some of these sites. All right, so another question here. If I have an idea for a trail, should I start by talking to my county or town manager or mayor? Sure, absolutely. That's a great place to start. We are in touch with most of the municipalities. Most of them know us very well. We know them. We have great partnerships with them. And it's always a good idea to do that, because that lets them know that you want more trails. And that's not just coming to us and then Dan River Basin going to a town and saying, hey, we need to put some more trails down because these people are asking for it. If you ask them yourself, obviously they're going to know that the public wants these trails, and then they're going to be able to come with us, or they already know we're a partner with them, and say, hey, we have some public that have an idea for a trail. How can you guys help us? We'd much rather it go that way, with the county or town managers talking to us and saying, hey, we've got the public that are clamoring for this trail or asking us if it's possible. Can you guys come check it out? And we're more than happy to do that. Add this to a master plan, put boots on the ground, to bring all the partners together to get this done. So absolutely, that's a great way to do it. All right, let me see if we've got any more questions up there. I don't see any more at this time, but if you have any questions and you need to contact me, like I said, feel free to get on our website, poke around, look at the interactive map. All our staff are on there. Be glad to help you out. We have a regular email that's for North Carolina and for Virginia. We get those emails and we're happy to answer those questions. If you have any specific questions about a trail or a river access, I can usually help you out with that. If I can't, I will find the information to you. I've been on most every trail we have and most every section of river that we have. I'm trying to think if I've missed any, but I can usually answer it myself. It may have been a long time since I've been on a particular area, but I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. See if I can figure out here. Sorry, I always have this trouble with this sharing screen, but don't hesitate to email me, ask me a question. You can get on our Facebook page, the Dan River Basin Association Facebook page, ask a question there. Myself and Krista both monitor that. We try to get back to you as soon as we can. Like I said, if it's information about paddling or trails, I can usually tell you. And the neat thing is they're different all the time. The wintertime we get out there, you see different things. In the springtime, obviously you got a lot of wildflowers blooming. Summertime is going to be a lot different with more foliage. Fall, obviously beautiful colors. So get out there. They are, for the most part, open. Most of our river accesses, all of our river accesses on the Smith River are open. As far as I know, all the river accesses on the Dan are open as well, except with the exception of Hanging Rock State Park, because they've had to have some closures. And then the Bannister River and the Hyco and the Stanton. Now, once again, you have to check with the state parks if it's in a state park to see if those are closed. Okay, got more questions here. Okay, sorry, trying to get that off the screen. And we want to see where the Lindsey Bridge project is again. Let me see if I can back that up for you. So what's happening is, I get back there, just gonna have to zip through this real quick. It's back here somewhere. So if you've ever been to the Mayo River, you know there's a north and a south Mayo River, and then the Mayo rivers come together and run into the Dan River, thus the town of Mayo Dan. And the town of Madison is right there where this project is. And get back to it for you. Oh, it's back in here somewhere. There it is. Okay, so we'll get back to the start of it here, and you can see where the Pine Hall Dam is. It's Pine Hall Brick Company, and the river's running downstream here. So it'll be, the actual project will be downstream of this dam, and you can see here is the Mayo rivers, both the Mayo rivers running down here and running down into the Dan River this way. And then if you look, you will see this is downstream here. So the town of Madison is up over here, and then 220 would be this way. So we're actually looking at, this is obviously orientated north and south, and you can see the Pine Hall Dam right here and all the fish weirs down, or the rock weirs downstream of the dam, and this will help raise the level up. Okay, we got another question there. So I guess you can't see it there. So somebody raised their hand. Who was that? Do you have a question? You can certainly type your question in up here, and let me see it there. And sorry, I don't know why you can't see that. I don't know what happened with my screen sharing there. Oh, my screen sharing is paused. That's why. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Ellen. Let me fix that. Okay, hopefully. So I've got to figure out how to share this screen again. Here we go. All right. Hopefully that is sharing the right screen now. Can anyone tell me? Ellen, if you can tell me, I would appreciate it, but that should be the screen we're sharing there. I'm not sure, guys. I'm sorry. I can see what's on my screen, but I can't see what's on your screen. So it's a little tough to deal with that sometimes. But if you have any questions, you can see this video online once again, and I will be glad to share this presentation with you as a PDF if you would like it as well. So I'm sorry if I have the wrong screen up there right now, but I'm going to drop off here now because we've been going over 45 minutes and that's my allotted time. So thank you guys for your attendance. If I missed any of your questions, please send the questions to me on my email and I'll get back to you. And I appreciate you guys attending. Please be safe out there, practice your social distancing on the trails, ride your bike, hike on the trail, paddle, whatever you want to do. But please do it safely, you know, follow the guidelines that you need to from the CDC and from your state and local government. You know, we're all trying to do the best we can, but we all need to get out there. I mean, vitamin D, we know vitamin D works. It's a good thing. So get out there and enjoy that. And there we go. Okay, so we did get the right screen up eventually. Well, thank you guys again. I appreciate it. And tune in next week. I believe next week is the virtual tour of the basin that Tiffany Hayworth will be doing. I think that's right. You can look on our website and look on our calendar and see when the next lunch with DRBA is. So until that time, happy paddling, guys, and happy trails.